Welcome to Bucklesbury Lemonade. Tonight, unravel the mystery with us. A tale of sun and shadow, hope and heartbreak. We begin not in the past, but in the present, with a memory that refuses to fade.
Imagine a phone ringing in the night. Susan, Amy's mother, listens, holds her breath, the way she did for decades. Every ring could be Amy. Every ring could be a lie.
On March 5th, 1974, Amy went home for lunch and called her father, Ned, to borrow some money. Her plan was simple. Walk the less than a mile from her residence to Ned's art gallery on Commodore Plaza. She never made it.
Amy was wearing a short denim miniskirt and cork platform sandals. The time of her disappearance was midday, around 12 p.m. Witnesses, well, they offered conflicting reports, which is typical in chaos. One saw her enter a light-colored pickup truck. Another, well, they said a light-colored Jeep. And a third suggested a beige van. None of these leads amounted to anything concrete.
But the first true sign that this was not a simple runaway case was the immediate menace that followed. Within days, her family received an extortion call demanding $30,000.
That specific threat turned out to be a cruel hoax placed by two twin brothers, the Glassers. They were swiftly arrested, but this initial red herring, well, it only obscured the very real danger that Amy had encountered. 2 weeks after Amy vanished, a hitchhiking college student found a small personal item in the grass beside the Florida Turnpike, over 250 miles northwest of Miami. It was Amy's camera.
The camera contained a few underdeveloped photos, one of a light-colored pickup and another showing a white van. But the most chilling theory, one that Susan Billig, Amy's mother, would spend the rest of her life chasing, was the connection to a notorious motorcycle gang known as the Outlaws.
Police quickly learned a large contingent of outlaws had passed through Coconut Grove around the time that Amy disappeared. This theory gained horrific traction when Susan met two gang members who confessed that, yes, members of their organization routinely kidnapped young women, sometimes selling them for nothing more than a bike or a credit card.
Susan became an avenging force. She relentlessly pursued every single lead. In 1976, she met a biker named Dave, who claimed he had actually owned Amy at one point. He showed Susan a terrible validating clue. He described a hidden appendectomy scar on Amy's abdomen, a detail that the family had never released to the media.
He described Amy as quiet, almost mute. This detail became an identifier, followed by multiple witnesses in different states. But despite Dave's promises to lead Susan to Amy in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the meeting was a bust. It ended in a barroom fight and Dave vanishing.
Susan's search spanned 3 decades, stretching from Florida to Seattle, Washington. But the darkest, most horrifying piece of information surfaced years later, long after the supposed biker responsible, Paul Branch, had died in 1996.
Branch's common law wife came forward with a deathbed confession. Branch was able to describe Amy's scar, confirming he knew her. But the rest of his revelation was brutal, terrifying. He claimed that Amy had been taken to a party and had become involved in an act of unspeakable group violence and forced intoxication.
The confession alleged that, in the frenzy, Amy became unresponsive. Branch's final words on the matter claimed that her body was disposed of in a way that ensured no trace would ever be found, swallowed by the wildest, most desolate part of the Florida ecosystem. This account offered a gruesome closure, though one investigators were never able to definitively prove or disprove.
As if Susan Billing hadn't endured enough, she spent 21 years being tormented by an anonymous man who called her repeatedly, claiming her daughter was held against her will by an illicit ring. He was always elusive, always using payphones, until he made that one fatal mistake in 1995. He used a cell phone.
The number led police to a U.S. Customs agent named Henry Johnson Blair, the man who tormented Susan for 2 decades. He was arrested. Blair claimed he was merely an alcoholic with an obsessive compulsive disorder and maintained he had no connection to Amy's disappearance. Wow.
But Susan, she was still searching for the truth. She found a chilling entry in Amy's old journal, written just 6 weeks before she vanished. Amy wrote,
Hank says as soon as I finish school, he wants me to go to South America with him. I told him he's crazy.
Hank was Henry Blair's nickname. Blair was a sky marshal until 1973, and his customs job often involved patrolling local waterways and driving seized vehicles, including, according to his neighbors, a light-colored pickup truck and a beat-up beige van, matching those vague witness descriptions from 1974.
Blair was convicted of harassment and lost a civil suit, but he was never charged with Amy's kidnapping or murder. The ultimate irony of this case is that the two key individuals, the biker Paul Branch, the harasser Henry Blair, or Hank, both had access to information only an involved person would know: the scar, the nickname, travel details. Yet the definitive truth remains trapped in the silence of 1974.
Amy's parents, Ned and Susan, spent the rest of their lives searching. They passed away without ever knowing where Amy rests. Today, Amy Billig is remembered not just as a missing person, but as a victim whose promise was stolen and whose tragic story is a testament to a mother's relentless 31-year war for answers.